Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, yesterday, William Samoei Ruto and Musalia were at Ukunda Showgrounds in Koone County for interdenomination church function. And in that function, there are several things that came out when politicians stood up to speak. And I was listening to the speech from Musalia. There are things he talked about, and seemingly this is how it was just arranged so that Mudavadi will bring this issue out and the targeted audience to get the information that this government wanted to pass out. Mudavadi addressed himself to the issue to do with the situation in this country as far as the matter to do with the crisis is concerned. According to him, there is no crisis in Kenya. But he's believing that someone somewhere is trying to make crisis where there is none. And beside making crisis, that person wants to internationalize that crisis to attract an international attention. He has done the first comparison to the countries that have crisis in Africa. He's mentioning Sudan and one of the West Africa countries, that's Niger. According to him, those are countries that have crisis and they need help, nationally and internationally. Then, beside a comparison of that, he also did another one. And on this one, he was now trying to compare, he was trying to deal with the issue of the political and the socio-economic situation in the countries. He put there South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda. He's comparing on how the opposition and the government side have been working together in terms of how South Africa opposition has been treated in the hands of Juma. You come to Ramaphosa. Then they come even to Tanzania and try to compare on how Magufuli was bulldozing the opposition. To an extent, the opposition had to leave the country, to exile. He go again to Uganda and bring a comparison that this is how Museveni was able to treat Kizza Besigye. This is how Bobby Wine suffered in the hands of Museveni. Then he come to Kenya and he put a question. Why is it that in Kenya, simple matters, they want to internationalize this issue, whereby Kenya needs just to solve this problem in their own way. Like when there was issue in Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, there was no international community coming in to sort out the issue. It was internally solved. But in Kenya, they want to bring outsiders to the matters in the country to sort out. That's Musalia Mudavadi. Now, Musalia Mudavadi's statement is coming at a time when we know that William Ruto and Raila Odinga have talked to each other, and they have agreed that they have to go into a national conversation, and in that national conversation, they are choosing to have at least 5-member team from each side to make it 10. Then they form a committee that is going to deal with the issues that they think are of importance in this country to sort out the problem that we are facing. Social, economic, and political. All those. Then Musalia Mudavadi's speech comes in. But again, it is coming at a time when we have also had Azimio confirming that indeed they have had a meeting with the former Nigeria President Obasanjo. So the question on this Punchline is that who is Musalia Mudavadi communicating to? Who is the target of his speech of yesterday? In my view, I think 2 people is addressing here, or 3. And I want to look into that. But before we go into that, there's a quick request for those who are watching and you are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to this discussion. Now, if Ruto went into a conversation with Raila Odinga. Who forced him to go into a dialogue? Who forced him to reach out to Raila Odinga? If it was a phone call or a meeting, the way we are now getting information, who forced William Ruto? That's the question. And another question is that before Mudavadi talk about the issue of outsiders coming into Kenyan politics or Kenyan matters, then who has allowed them? Who is the president of this country? The truth is that Ruto has no option but to sit down and have a dialogue if you want to lead this country. And that dialogue is about speaking to Azimio and also speaking to Kenyans. And speaking to Kenyans means you solve the issue of high cost of living and the finance bill. Sasa kuna watu wawili wa muhimu wa Ruto kuongea nao, wa Kenya na watu wa Azimio. Lakini ikifika kwa watu wa Azimio, the issue is that Raila believe that there is deficit of trust in William Ruto. Because of that deficit, Raila need someone who has at least served in higher office so that he can sit down with them to mediate. And in the case Ruto is going to such that in case Ruto is going to disown the agreement, then there will be someone who can tell the world exactly about what has happened. Because we know William Ruto, you can agree with him on something, then they get out and speak something different from what you have agreed and paint you as the problem. And he knows how to do it better. For example, the bipartisan talk, who was derailing that bipartisan talk? It was the Kenya Kwanza side. So Azimio learned that these people were just buying time, but they were not serious on having this conversation. So they literally called off. Now with this, we know William Ruto has been pushed, number one, by the America to go into a dialogue with Raila Odinga. And Raila is saying, I need a mediator. If no mediator, there is no way I can talk to you. So he's being forced now to bring in Obasanjo. Seemingly, Mudavadi is telling the America that we don't want you into our own matters here in Kenya to bring a solution we can sort out. But this is not Mudavadi, it is William Ruto. Again, the emerging issue is that the UK is also here pressuring Ruto to have a dialogue. United Nations are also here. They're telling Ruto, this country will not ban. We will not allow you to continue killing Kenyans. Go into a dialogue and sort out the problem. And going to this dialogue, it means Azimio do not trust Ruto. They need a mediator. So, Ruto is also communicating to the United Nations, is communicating to UK and the US that we don't have a crisis in this country to attract this kind of delegation that you want us to have and have that sit down with Raila Odinga and have a mediator. That's the first thing. Number two, Ruto is communicating to Musalia Mudavadi, to Raila Odinga through Musalia Mudavadi, that he's not interested in having a mediator in any talk that they want to have. He don't want. And Mudavadi is bringing it out, this issue, that you are nationalizing this issue to look like there is a huge crisis in this country when there is none. That's a message to Azimio la Umoja. They don't want a mediator. But Azimio is holding to only going into a talk if there is a mediator. Without any, no talks. That's the message. And when Mudavadi tried to compare the issue of Uganda and how Museveni has been able to deal with the Bobby Wine and the Kizza Besigye, the brutal way approach to the opposition in Uganda, is it something good you can try to compare to Kenya? So is Mudavadi telling Kenyans that they want to go the Museveni way of handling opposition? If that's the way, then are they calling for secession or what? Or are they calling for anarchy or something to call close to that? So are they telling the international community that is pushing them to have a dialogue that we can handle our issue the way Uganda is doing it? Because when it comes to handling opposition, Uganda is one of the bad examples you can never use anywhere. Beating the opposition, arresting in a very inhumane way. So are they telling them that we did not see you in Uganda, we did not see you in Tanzania, we did not see you in South Africa, but you are coming here, meandering around our issues here? So similarly, Ruto is trying to kind of face the Americans, the United Nations, the European Union, and tell them that I can go the Museveni way, the late Magufuli way of handling issues. That's why he's bringing in these examples. Otherwise, you could mention South Africa, but not what Uganda did and not what Magufuli did. Is it Tundu Lissu something? I think someone by the name Tundu Lissu, the opposition leader of Tanzania. That's not how to handle opposition in a democratic country where freedom of speech and assembling is allowed. So that's the message. They are addressing Musalia, Raila, they are addressing the other people who are concerned with this issue. But again, they are also addressing Kenyans. According to William Ruto, we don't have crisis in this country. Is it true we don't have? The issue is that we have economic crisis. The economy is not working because investors are going out. Why are investors going out? Because of the kind of new tax that Ruto is introducing to this country. It's in the data crisis. So shall we say it's national crisis or international? Whichever way you take it, there is crisis in Kenya. People are going to lose jobs. In fact, let me put it right. Majority of Kenyans have lost jobs. Now they are jobless. And someone is increasing taxes on basic commodities. How do you expect Kenyans to raise these taxes? They cannot afford these products in the market. So, are you making life affordable for Kenyans? We are talking about your finance bill, lowering the cost of living. People are sleeping hungry in this country. All those are crises. So, we are seeing a message from William Ruto, who is not comfortable in having a mediator because he has a plan to disown the agreement after the mediation. His plan is to, cleverly slow down the conversation, to delay it and have his way.